Got it.
Hello. I am very, very happy this morning. As of Hush Hush Biz is talking to another wonderful Brisbane talent, and it is Josh Mulheran, and he is going to be starring in a very exciting musical, yet again presented by QPAC and Prosperity Arts. And Josh, you are playing a very famous figure and telling the story in a musical way, which is Frankie Valli. And this is again titled The Story of Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons. And first up, welcome. And
Thanks for having me.
oh, look, we're thrilled to be, talking to you. And, and it must be thrilling for you to be able to, you're from Brisbane and you're
Yep.
playing in Brisbane. And how does that feel? And, I'm just anxious to hear about all the show and, and what the audience is going to expect. And so we've got, yeah, over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Brisbane, it's always really special coming home and performing at Brisbane. Obviously, I think half the audiences that come and see the shows are my family and friends. So it's really cool and very special to come back to QPAC. And I love performing at QPAC. It's actually going to be my first time in the concert hall, which is a beautiful venue, like all the
My
music
favorite.
and the orchestration and the
Yep.
sound in there is just phenomenal. So
Oh,
very excited to come back to QPAC with one of my favorite shows. I've got a pretty special history with this show. I think I saw it first back in 2015 at QPAC. And then, yeah, I was lucky enough to do the 2018 tour, where I played Joe Pesci and understudied the role of Frankie Valli. So now to come back and to get to step up into the shoes of Frankie Valli this time is really cool and really special. So I'm looking forward to it. It's a big challenge. If anybody knows the Four Seasons music and Frankie Valli's voice, it's just otherworldly. Like his falsetto is crazy. And like just the amount of songs that you'll hear in the show and you'll be like, oh, I know that song. I had no idea. And these songs are from the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, and they just are so incredible and timeless that people today still know songs that were written 60 years ago. So that's absolutely mind-blowing. And some of these songs I grew up with, I think the first time I heard them would have been when Heath Ledger in 10 Things I Hate About You serenades with Can't Take My Eyes, and he sings, jumps down the bandstand and he gets chased around. He's got the horns on the field and all, and it's just the music's incredible. And such a crazy story as well. Like these are four guys from the suburbs of New Jersey, and just they're involved in crime and the mafia, and some of them went to jail. And there's
mm,
it's not just incredible music. I like to say that it's a play with music, because there's some incredible acting scenes in this show, and it's really special to bring a character who is a real person to life on the stage and tell their story. So that's
yeah.
just some of the things I'm looking forward to. There's so many things we can talk about this show. It's very special, and I think it a lot of people love it for the music and also for the story as well. So I'm very excited to bring it back to Brisbane.
Absolutely. And look, we just to note, again, as you said, the music is extraordinary. And, and I grew up on it. That was in my era. So that was very much, playing a lot. And, and it's something that's, you just never let go of that music, because it is some of the best music in, ever, I think, produced.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
no, it's yeah. And what would be, what are your favorite songs in this? What sort of
Oh,
is you?
that's like asking a parent who their favorite child is.
I'll have a
Oh,
go.
look, every song is so special, and
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the big three: Sherry, Big Girls, Walk Like a Man. Like, there's there's something really, really special about those ones. It was obviously their first hits and singles, and I think those are the songs that kind of everybody knows and loves. But then there's some really amazing songs in Act Two as well, that have kind of made a resurgence in the world. I don't know if you know Beggin' by Maneskin, that has blown up in the past couple of years. That was a Four Seasons original, you know, back in the disco era. And that's a really cool number as well to do. And then obviously Can't Take My Eyes Off of You is a very special
that's one
moment.
of my favorites.
It's one of those tricky things as a performer, though, as it's such a well-known song and the crowd is expecting, you know, such incredible things from it. That's probably the one that makes me the most nervous to sing, but it's also such a beautiful song, and the horns come out, and and there's some really incredible songs in there. So I don't know if I could pick an absolute favorite, but I think I'll say Can't Take would be up there. Very, very closely followed by Sherry.
Sherry. Okay. And you know, and basically those two, are the heart stealers, I'd say, of the show, where everyone just really, wants to join in.
And once Sherry starts, you can see the audience be like, "Oh, this is the moment. We're here for it." You know, obviously, if you want to jump up in your seats and have a bit of a boogie, I love that.
It's great to have that energy from the audience. You know, look, it is a very short season, which you know, it's the 8th to the 11th, and there's 6 shows combined in this. So
we're squeezing a lot of shows into a very short amount of time.
Yeah. You know, so obviously, how long have you been in rehearsals for this?
We are currently on day 3 of rehearsals. So we've had just the 4 seasons in for you know, the first 3 days, and then we'll get the rest of the cast in on Saturday. We've basically got, I think, about 10 or 12 days of rehearsals to learn the whole show.
Wow.
Because obviously it's being advertised as a semi-staged kind of concert version of it. But don't be fooled. This is the entire musical. There's all the scenes, all the acting, everything in there that you know and love from the show. You know, we've got the orchestra on stage with us as well. So there's also that element of it that makes it feel a little bit more like a concert, but it is the full production. And you know, I've had to memorize all my lines basically overnight to be like, I've got to walk in and know everything off book. And it's all new brand choreography, so we've got to learn all of that as well. And luckily all 4 of us seasons have done the show before in some capacity. So luckily I've come in knowing all of my harmonies and the lines and things like that. But it's a very quick process, and some very talented people working on it to make it happen in a shorter period of time.
Yeah, there is. Have you worked with any of the cast before? So
the guy playing Nick Massey, Glaston Toff, him and I did it in the 2018 tour. I think he's played Nick Massey probably over 1,000 times. Which probably makes it, because I think he's done about 3 of the tours at the moment. So he's probably one of the, the most experienced Jersey boys on the planet. And there's also Glenn Hill, who's playing Bob Crew, the producer that made all of their records. He was on the last tour with me as well. And the other boys, Jack Saunders has played Bob Gaudio on cruise ships all across the world, and Connor Crawford was he was on the 2015 tour. He actually is playing Tommy DeVito this time, which is a role that he didn't cover or play on the last one. So he's kind of taking on a little bit of a new role as well. But he's walked in day 1, and you know, we did a couple of scenes together yesterday, and knows all of his lines. He's got the accent down and the character, and it's really cool to see talented people come into the room and bring something new, but work together on a really fantastic show. And it's very exciting to work with the boys.
Oh wow! Again, this sounds just, I don't know, like this will be a hot seller. This will be sold out.
Absolutely. I think, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but they may even add an extra show. I don't know. If it sells out, we might put another one in. Um,
Sounds good.
obviously there's I keep getting messages from people being like, oh, is it coming to Sydney? Is it going to Melbourne? Are we going on tour? Which, obviously we'd love to take the show, but I think there's something magical and special about it being in such a short season that you've only got that chance to get in and see it then, because who knows when it comes back? You never know. You got to take every chance you can to see the shows that are there. And
Yeah.
particularly after COVID, where the
Mm.
industry closed down and you couldn't see shows, and it's
Right.
really amazing that the audiences are turning back out. That now that we're there's, I think every theater here in QPAC is filled with a show. Chicago's going on,
Yeah.
Rent's playing.
Yeah.
There's always an orchestra. I saw an advertisement for Cannibal. I think it's Queen by Candlelight, which is a string quartet and all of that. And
Yeah.
it's really special to be involved in theater coming back. And it's my passion and my dream. And I love being out there and performing and entertaining audiences. And it's really amazing to have audiences come back to live theater and support the arts.
Oh, look, and yeah, I'm, that's what makes my, just makes me smile even more, because, after COVID, we do appreciate our, live acts being back, and, and that you guys are doing what you do the best. And, and the appreciation goes both ways. So yeah, it's good. And I think Brisbane are amazing at turning up.
They are some of the best crowds. There's something in the water. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously it's my hometown, so I'm a little bit biased, but yeah, Brisbane crowds are the best. I think they cheer a little bit louder. I think also because we've only got, one arts precinct and there's not always a show on here. Brisbane audiences just are really hungry for shows, and it's great. It's really special to perform for such a generous audience. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, Josh, no, this is great. I'm absolutely thrilled. I'm this is definitely one of the most amazing musicals. Again, that, even if you don't know about, the Jersey Boys, for anyone, they need to see this. It is just incredible history in
Absolutely.
itself. So yeah,
It's I think one of the special things about Jersey Boys was it was one of the original kind of jukebox musicals. So they I think in 2001 when they wrote Mamma Mia, obviously ABBA was like, oh, we've got all these songs that we love. Let's throw it into a musical. Not to plug myself, I just finished doing that show last year. It's phenomenal as well. There's something special about singing pop songs in musicals. But when they did Mamma Mia, they wrote obviously an original story for it. And then Frankie and Bob Gaudio were like, oh, well, we have, just a similar amount of songs in our catalog and discography. How could we potentially turn this into a show? And they got some people to write some stories and workshop ideas of, a love story between a guy and a girl named Sherry. And then they sat down. They basically were like, oh, like, tell us what was happening when you guys are writing these songs and coming up through, obviously from the suburbs to being famous. And they were like, oh, well, this happened, and we went to jail, and then there was $500,000 in debt that they had to pay back, and
yeah.
family members passed away, and they were like, that's the story. Let's tell the story of the Jersey Boys to your music, and that's. I think there's something that audiences connect to about four working class guys from the 60s in the suburbs who are a little bit on the wrong side of the road. And yeah, it's a story that people just connect to, and these are real people and real stories, and the audience connects with them, and it helps that the songs are phenomenal. But yeah, I think even if you don't know any of the songs, or you don't know the story, or who Frankie Valli was, first of all, go and look him up. He's incredible. But yeah, you could come completely blind to the show and just fall in love with these people and these characters and the songs. And I mean, I'm biased. I love the show. It's one of my favorite shows. And obviously I have the privilege of getting to perform as Frankie Valli, but I think there's something really special about this show. And it is the story, and it's the heart and the characters and the music. And yeah. If you haven't seen it, better get to it. There's only a couple of shows to get to.
Well, Josh, you just absolutely, just made that beautiful in terms of, that shines in you. And I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing the show. And yeah, and congratulations. And we wish you all the best from Hush Hush Biz.
Thank you so
That,
much.
you know, this is going to be, you know, a wonderful, you know, another show in QPAC happening. So thank you for being with us today. And
Absolutely, my pleasure.
yeah, and we look forward to seeing what, you know, what you're doing in the future as well. So we'll stay in touch.
Yeah, fingers crossed. You know, it's always a tricky industry. It's one of those ones you have to keep auditioning for shows, and
Yeah,
I mean, there's so many incredible things coming out, and there's you know, some very exciting theatre coming to Australia. And yeah, obviously lucky to be a part of it. Very happy to be here and you know, entertaining audiences across Australia.
absolutely. All right. All the best. Have a wonderful, wonderful, you know, season with the Jersey Boys. The story of Frankie, Vallie and the Four Seasons, starting
Yeah,
on the 8th to the 11th of February. Wow.
see you there.
See you there.